right, I'm here with Rev3Games senior producer, Zach Miner. We're going to talk about XCOM on iOS, and we had to bring in Zach because I think I'm proficient at the game, but I don't believe there's a human being outside of Firaxis who showed the level of passion and competency in XCOM than Mr. Miner.
I would actually argue that I'm better than a lot of the people inside Firaxis, as has been proven in a couple of the videos we've done earlier this year.
Check those out afterwards. It has been proven. Jake, you're on notice yet again. Okay, the whole idea of taking a game like XCOM to a mobile device kind of makes sense.
It really does. I mean, we saw this even when it came out. Like, I mean, it's turn-based, right? I mean, the control scheme, you can see how easily it would translate to mobile, right? So, I mean, when they announced this, I think me and a lot of other people were super excited. And
it just seemed kind of obvious.
Yeah, right?
But we've seen major franchises go over to mobile devices. I don't think we've ever seen a game that replicates itself from the console and the PC on the device. How does that transfer work?
Yeah, I was trying to think of another game that did that, and Bastion comes to mind.
Okay.
Bastion did that. But on Bastion, it didn't really work super well, right? Because it's kind of an action game, right? I mean, there were a couple different control schemes that they had. Whereas XCOM feels supernatural. You tap to kind of bring up a soldier, and then you can either tap and confirm, or like I was saying, you can double tap. Everything makes perfect sense with a touch-based interface. You know, my big concern with a game like XCOM is that, you know, I would accidentally click in a space that I didn't want to, and I would go to a space and
obviously, yeah, it's just turn-based, so you can stop yourself.
You can stop yourself.
That gets frustrating.
Yeah, it does, and I mean, there's a lot of instances where even with like a mouse and keyboard, I accidentally go to the wrong space, and then my entire game is screwed, right? So, you know, I've been playing for about a week and a half. I have not had that happen once. I think it makes a ton of sense. I played mostly on the iPad. We should note that it's a universal app, so it's one purchase, $20, we can talk about that later, and it will run on both your phone and on your tablet, and it's got iCloud, so that you can be starting a campaign on your iPad and then pick it up on your phone.
Okay, the idea, and maybe I'm just imposing sort of my sense of what I want to do on a phone, the idea of playing a game where having to get sort of a good bird's eye view of the battlefield is so essential. I mean, does it really work on the phone?
It does. You know, I think that the real estate is a little bit of a concern. Things feel a little more cluttered on the phone. The interfaces are actually, they have some subtle differences. On iPad, the base view has the room names at the top that you can navigate to, just like on console and PC. But on iPhone, those buttons would probably be too small. So instead, there's a single rooms button that expands and allows you easy access to any of the major rooms within your base. But I mean, you can pinch to zoom. It works fine. And what's interesting is actually, I've got an iPhone 5 and I've got an iPad mini. The game looks and runs better on my iPhone 5 than it does on my iPad mini. Most of the footage you'll see is from the iPhone version.
And it's Unreal Engine 3, which it has been demonstrated, obviously with Infinity Blade, that engine actually runs quite comfortably on iOS.
Yes.
Once again, so you just see it in a proper full-body console PC game doing that. I mean, that's almost a tough thing to get your head wrapped around. You
know, Bastion, which we mentioned earlier, it was a downloadable game. It was still, you know, a beautiful game, and it looked great on both platforms. But to be playing a game that was $60, that, I mean, we talked to Jake, right? I mean, XCOM was the biggest game Firaxis ever made. To see this on a completely different platform with, you know, all the features there. I mean, there's customizable soldiers. There's, you know, all the missions that you have there. You know, I think the destructible environments are there. I think that there's a couple maybe less maps, but I mean, everything is pretty much there. It's crazy.
And it's in less than a year. No, let's get to the price.
Yes.
$20. Obviously,
$20.
That might be the most expensive game I can think of on iOS.
Yeah.
Nonetheless, if you were to play this on PC or console outside of sort of a digital sale, right. You're spending closer to $60.
Yeah, you are. And I think a lot of people went like, oh, when they heard about that $20 price. But I actually do need to give a lot of props to 2K and for Firaxis. I mean, we've seen in the mobile landscape, pricing is a bit of a disaster.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of people experimenting with a lot of cool ideas. I was trying to think of like, how many ways this could have gone wrong. Imagine if it was, you know, 99 cents and it comes with the assault class, and then you pay $2 extra
right.
for each class, right? Or maybe, you know, I want to rename my soldier to Adam. No offense, Adam.
That's okay. He's gonna die very quickly, so I don't recommend it.
Right. So maybe it's like, imagine if I charged you 99 cents to rename a soldier. I mean, this is stuff that we see in a lot of mobile games, and you know, personally, as someone who already knows that I love XCOM, I am really grateful that it's just, you know, it's one price and you get it all. Yeah,
that they're not giving. I think it's one thing when you have a brand new IP that no one's experienced and you play around with the pricing. I agree with you completely on the logic there. There is one thing it does not come with yet, and that is the multiplayer.
Correct. It doesn't come with the multiplayer. That's going to be a free add-on. No details there, but I really hope they have some pass and play multiplayer. Like, imagine on a plane, you know, you can do your little move and hand it over just like you guys are playing chess or something.
There might have to be more work than just converting the entire game over as they could do in the single player.
Right. There seem to be far less kill cams in the game. You know, you still get that kind of nice cinematic look on like a reaction shot, but there didn't seem to really be any for just a regular kill. There's also unskippable cutscenes, which, you know, when you're playing through the campaign for the 8th or 9th time, can be a little bit frustrating. It also doesn't include any of the Slingshot DLC, so that means that it doesn't include the optional council missions or you know, the crazy outfits that came with the launch edition of the game. Those are not in the game as well.
But at the end of the day, it's XCOM Enemy Unknown, available on iOS. It's coming out this week.
Yeah, it comes out Thursday. It's gonna be $20 on iOS. No word on an Android version, although when we talked to Firaxis, they said, you know, they're interested. But I mean, they had to say that. So
everyone's interested in doing things that generate more revenue.
We'll see. But yeah, I mean, it's incredible. I think that we're gonna see a lot more of these. I mean, imagine the next version of Civilization, depending on what engine it's gonna be built on. I mean, imagine that coming out simultaneously, because the interface works, the controls work, and it looks good.
Yeah,
so,
and it makes sense to have turn-based on mobile.
It really does.
All right, Zach, thank you so much. I would say go back and play, but it's probably already happening.
It's happening, sorry.